Finally, we have a well-written mainstream article that highlights the super important contributions to the field of artificial intelligence by women of color. I'm talking about this article written by Lorena O'Neill and published in the Rolling Stone. Honestly, each of these women of color would be very deserving of her own feature article, highlighting the very important work they do in the field of artificial intelligence and what they contribute to the debate on AI ethics. So we've got a lot to cover. First up, we have Dr. Timnit Gebru, one of the lead authors of the infamous Stochastic Parrots paper, which offered a detailed criticism of large language models, LLMs, the tech behind generative AI tools like ChatGPT. In the paper, Dr. Gebru and co-authors questioned the environmental, financial, and other costs of LLMs, expose various risks and harms related to training LLMs on large, uncurated, static, internet-based datasets that encode the dominant hegemonic views of the world that are harmful to marginalized populations, and question whether enough has been done to mitigate all the exposed risks. Google was not happy about Google's name appearing in the credits of this highly critical paper, which essentially led to Dr. Gebru being fired. Google later also fired Dr. Margaret Mitchell, another co-author of the Stochastic Parrots paper, who was co-leading the ethical AI team at Google with Dr. Gebru and was trying to find evidence of discrimination against Dr. Gebru. Then we have Dr. Joy Buolamwini, who, together with Dr. Gebru, brought attention to the racial bias in face detection systems. The core of the issue is, if you predominantly train AI models on white men, they will be fine-tuned to recognize, well, white men. This already has wide-reaching consequences in hiring, policing, and other very real areas of our lives, mostly affecting marginalized communities. Honestly, I'm very glad that public facial recognition is now being banned in the EU because the work by Dr. Buolamwini helped to show how unreliable it is if you're not a white man. Next up is Dr. Safiya Noble, author of the book Algorithms of Oppression: How Search Engines Reinforce Racism. She brings to our attention the possibility that Google's supposedly noble attempt at digitizing the world's information by scanning books in libraries was actually a way to feed their AI models with more data. But we don't know for sure because companies like Google and OpenAI refuse to provide details on their training datasets beyond vague descriptions. They say they are protecting their competitive advantage. I say they just want to avoid scrutiny and exposing the hidden biases in the data they use to train Bard, ChatGPT, and other large language models. Oh, and then we have an intermezzo by Geoffrey Hinton, part of the AI Doomer gang, who's been getting a lot of attention by mainstream media, so I won't bother showing you his picture. He's basically saying the hypothetical possibility of artificial intelligence becoming super smart concerns him more than the very real damages already being caused by AI systems used in the wild. An easy position to take as a white cis man who likely only faces positive discrimination when using AI systems. Oh, but in his commentary for the Rolling Stone, he did add that bias and discrimination need to be confronted urgently. Just not by him. As a man, he's got bigger thoughts to think, you know? He'll let the women in their 30s or 40s get fired, underfunded, and ridiculed for speaking up about bias, while he, a 75 years old man, continues to make good money from consulting gigs as he continues to worry about the much more exciting topic of superintelligence. But enough about men. Let's talk about Dr. Rumman Chowdhury, who led the ethics team at Twitter and discovered various biases in the Twitter algorithm, such as prioritizing faces of white women over the faces of people of color and the amplification of the political right. Obviously, Elon Musk had no need for Dr. Chowdhury's ethics team, but Dr. Chowdhury continues to advocate for greater transparency in tech and calling bullshit on the fables of Silicon Valley leaders. And then we have Dr. Seeta Peña Gangadharan, who's been raising the alarm on the impact AI systems have and will continue to have on marginalized communities. She should definitely get her own Wikipedia page as well. The article also provides a bit of background on upcoming regulation and lobbying done by AI doomers and points out that a lot of this existential risk talk is likely a diversion tactic. The five women remind us that artificial intelligence is not magic and that we already have very concrete risks and harms to mitigate because we are already allowing algorithms to make life-altering decisions. I hope part 1 made you interested in learning more about algorithmic bias and AI ethics, so I wanted to follow that video with an overview of what the 5 featured women of color are up to now and where you can learn more about their work and similar work by other women. Dr. Timnit Gebru is the founder and executive director of the Distributed Artificial Intelligence Research Institute, DAIR, a space for independent, community-rooted AI research free from big tech's pervasive influence. You can follow Dr. Gebru on LinkedIn. I keep discovering great content through her. Dr. Joy Buolamwini founded the Algorithmic Justice League, an organization that combines art and research to illuminate the social implications and harms of artificial intelligence. You can find more about her and her upcoming book Unmasking AI, part memoir, part investigation into the harms of AI, on her website poetofcode.com, where you can find links to more of her work and follow her on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Dr. Safiya Noble is a professor at UCLA and has founded her own organization, the Center on Race and Digital Justice, and according to Rolling Stone, she has also started an equity fund to support women of color and is publishing a book on the dangers and harms of AI. You can find more about her existing book, Algorithms of Oppression, and her other work on her website, safiyanoble.com, and follow her on Twitter and Instagram. Dr. Rumman Chowdhury founded Parity Consulting and Parity Responsible Innovation Fund, is a responsible AI fellow at Harvard University, and she also founded Humane Intelligence, a nonprofit that uses crowdsourcing to hunt for issues in AI systems. You can find more about her on her website, rummanchowdhury.com, and follow her on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Dr. Seeta Peña Gangadharan is a professor at the London School of Economics, and the Rolling Stone article mentions Our Data Bodies, a nonprofit she co-founded to examine the impact of data collection on vulnerable populations. You can also learn more about algorithmic bias and the groundbreaking research of these and other amazing women in the documentary Coded Bias by Shalini Kantaya on Netflix, which features contributions by Joy Buolamwini, Safiya Noble, and Timnit Gebru. And if you want to discover even more amazing women in AI ethics to follow, be sure to also visit womeninaiethics.org and browse its directory. And there you have it. Even though mainstream media usually loves to write about the various godfathers of AI, there are tons of amazing women doing research in the field of artificial intelligence and thinking about AI ethics and the various risks and harms that men usually choose to ignore or dismiss. You might have noticed that none of these women profiled in the Rolling Stone article currently work at Facebook, Microsoft, Google, or any other big tech companies who have been laying off their AI ethics and responsible innovation teams in the past year. So I think it's worth amplifying their voices and listen to what they and other marginalized researchers have to say.